Hi everybody, welcome back to Making Things with String. I am just taking a little video clip here of a new start and finish that I have accomplished in the last couple weeks. It's a cute little wolf cross stitch. This pattern is by Sunny Cross Stitches on Etsy. So I just downloaded a PDF pattern from there after purchasing it. I have stitched this cute little wolfie on a piece of, I think 32 count linen. The linen came from the Divination stitch box, as did the Forbidden Fiberco threads that I used to stitch it. So you can see I've got a gray called Runestone and the sort of lighter Crystal Ball colorway. And yeah, I just wanted to show off this cute little wolf. I think I'm gonna finish it in a hoop, so I'll, take some more footage of that once I finish it, fully finish it. But here it is. I'm going to be giving this to a colleague of mine, and it was a nice quick little stitch, and I think it's really cute. Yeah, I'm not so sure. This is sort of, the second or third time that I have stitched on linen similar to this, like sort of a darker hand-dyed linen. And I do find it like a little bit hard to stitch on. I make a lot of mistakes, I find. So the fabric is beautiful, but I did find it difficult to stitch on. You really need to have some backlighting or something light behind the fabric in order to be able to really see what you're doing. But I think this is a cute little pattern, and I hope that you agree. I just thought I would show off this fully finish I completed on this wolf piece. You probably just saw some footage of it after I finished stitching it. I got one of these 6-inch oval hoops from Michaels, and I just backed it with some felt, and I put a little ribbon loop onto the top of it. So now it is ready to be gifted to my colleague, and it is a fully finished object. Very exciting. It's not like a perfect finish, but I haven't finished very many things, so I'm pretty happy. Pretty happy with how it turned out overall, and I really love how this fabric looks in the background there. It's very spacey. Love this little pattern. This is my progress on the Twilight Imperium Nebula cross stitch that I'm doing. So this is a tile from one of my favorite board games. I just took a picture of the tile and popped it into, I believe, PicStitch. It's just an online automated tool that transforms photos into cross stitch patterns. Anyways, it's a tile from my favorite board game, and I have been working on it when I'm watching games in the Space Cats Peace Turtles Patreon tournament, which is an annual Twilight Imperium tournament that happens online, and the games are all streamed. So yeah, if I have a picture of what it looked like before, I'll put that up, or maybe even a video clip. But I got a decent amount done on this recently, since my last video. Here's what it's looking like. This is a fun stitch. I don't find it as rewarding as some of my other stitches. It's being stitched on black Ada 16 or 18 count, I can't really remember. Anyways, it's not my favorite thing to stitch on, and I also find that The picture that's emerging is a little like streaky looking, especially towards the outside of the image. But it's still fun, and I think it'll look nice once it is finished. But yeah, that is my progress on my Nebula. It's getting exciting because the inner stuff is really fun and looks less streaky. But yeah, there's all kinds of really beautiful colors in here. That's just stitched with some DMC thread. And like I said, some black Aida. Here is a finish of Gingerbread House 2 by Country Cottage Needleworks. I just love this little piece. It's taken me a little bit longer to stitch it than I expected, but it's all done now, and this will be turned into an ornament, I believe, or perhaps a flat fold. My plan is to do one of these every year and gift it. So you can make, if I do like a flat fold that stands up on its own, I was thinking they might be able to use it, like build a little gingerbread house village out of it. But it will take a while before they have enough houses for a village, and they could just hang it in their tree as well. It's not very big, so it's definitely the right size for that. So yeah, this is all done. Here's the pattern. I actually noticed, so this house in the chart is charted with the same green color as the stems here for the little flowers. But I noticed in the cover photo, it's not green. It looks like it's sort of the darker of the two browns, and I decided to go with that instead of making the door green. But that isn't technically what's charted. And yeah, I had some more practice with my little French knots, which are, you know, not perfect still, but they're going okay. I don't know if this is standard with French knots, but these ones are all called for one thread instead of two, and I feel like that is maybe why they look a little spindly. I don't know. So all those little red and green dots on the roof is French knots. His two little eyes are French knots, and his three little buttons are French knots. So they're not the best, but they are a little whimsical, and this is a whimsical little piece, so I don't mind them. And yeah, that's my first gingerbread house. I did Gingerbread House 2 first, so I have Gingerbread House 1, which I will start eventually, but not too sure exactly when. This is my progress on Needs No Paint. It's a chart by Heaven and Earth Designs that I've been working on for quite some time. I'll put some video footage here beside this to show what it looked like last time you saw it. And yeah, last time I had 26.47% complete, or 22,183 stitches. Now I have 29.46%, oh so close to 30% complete, and that's 24,686 stitches. So I've completed 2.99% of this pattern since I last posted about it, which is 2,503 stitches. So that's since about the beginning of June, which is really great progress for me. I'm glad that I'm getting consistent progress on this. So since last time I did a lot of this and some more of the horse's head. It's so strange with this piece. These sort of feathery sections, I find I struggle a lot. It's not nearly as fun to stitch compared to like even these sections up here. I'm really not sure what it is. It's all just individual stitches. but something about those feathery mane bits, I just really don't like stitching as much as these parts here and even these beautiful colorful spots. Yeah, not too sure, but I have a lot more of those feathery mane bits to do before this piece is over, so just got to plug through them. I'm sort of worried because I am going to be just like finishing the head of this horse, and I'm sort of worried about how my motivation to complete the piece will go after that's there. There's a chance that it will be you know, more motivating when I can see the horse's head, but I'm also worried that I will be less motivated to finish it once I can see the horse's head, because then it will be tempting to just sort of feather out the rest and not finish it. But I do want to finish it, so, you know, hopefully we'll get that done. Anyways, I love this piece, and I focused on this a little bit more this month than usual because June was Indigenous History Month, and we had National Indigenous Peoples Day in June, and so this piece is the art that it's based on is by Jill Clare, who's an Indigenous artist, so I thought it was appropriate to focus on this piece this month. And yeah, I'm excited to keep working on this one and get it done eventually so I can start a new Heaven and Earth design. I have a couple Heaven and Earth design patterns that are waiting to be started, but I want to finish this one before I do that. Anyway, here's what it looks like. Just DMC thread on a mystery 25 or 28 count fabric. I'm stitching it tent stitch, 2 threads over 1 fabric thread. Before I show my next piece, I wanted to show off this new little toy that I purchased. This is a lap stand from Kay's Creations. It's a really neat little thing. This, I just stitch with it now, with this laying on my lap and my project clamped into here. So let me get, needs no paint, show you roughly. You know, this Q-snap goes in here and we tighten it up, and then what this means is that I can stitch a little more comfortably, so I don't have to hold the project with my left hand. It also means that if I'm sitting in a proper orientation, I can stitch two-handed instead of just one-handed. So I'm really loving this. It was a little bit expensive, especially because there were some duty fees once it arrived, but I really love this a lot. And so all of these points are adjustable. You can fold it down really flat. I took it with me on a work trip to Prince Edward Island recently, and I stitched with it in the hotel, and I brought it to my mom and dad's in New Brunswick and stitched with it there. So it's pretty portable, and yeah, just a really great tool. I didn't have anything like this before. I was always just holding my pieces in my hand. So really love this. So because I have the lap stand now, my Reaching Skyward piece is in a Q-snap. I was stitching this in hand until I got that lap stand, and now I have it in the Q-snap, which means I can't, well, I could take it off the Q-snap and show you the whole piece, but I'm not going to, just because I want to keep it framed up so that I can continue working on it. But this should give you a bit of an idea of the progress that I've made. So this is Reaching Skyward, the Modern Folk Embroidery 2023 stitch along piece, and I'll show you a little video clip of the progress that I had on it last time that I filmed. Last time you saw this, I was 42.66% complete, or I had 20,388 stitches done on this piece. Now I'm 49.54% complete. or a total of 23,676 stitches stitched. So since you saw it last, I have stitched 6.88% of this, or a total of 3,288 stitches. So that's great. It's a lot of stitches, I think. However, it's not quite as many as I had intended to complete. So if you've been following along, each month of this chart is about 4,000 stitches. So I came a little bit short of that. There's a few little motifs over here and the rest of this border that I was supposed to complete in June. But like I said, I was really enjoying stitching on Needs No Paint towards the end of June. And I think I will have a lot of time to catch up on this in July. I'm going on vacation for 2 weeks. And I am going to be camping during that vacation, but I do plan to bring this piece with me. And yeah, in the first week of July as well, I should have some time to stitch on this and catch up. So my goal will be to finish off the June section and then start the July section. And I think I will start getting caught up on that again today after I finish recording this video. So here it is. Something that's interesting that I noticed as I was preparing for this video and tabulating the amounts of stitches that I've done both for this piece and for Needs No Paint, because those are the two patterns that I have on Pattern Keeper, which is an app that keeps track of all the stitches for me. Something interesting is that right now there's a similar total number of stitches complete in this piece and in Needs No Paint, which is really, it's interesting to me because I only started this piece in January this year. So I've only been working on it for about 6 months, but I've been working on Needs No Paint, I think, for a couple years. And so the fact that I was able to make this much progress on reaching Skyward since January just shows how much progress I could make on a project like Needs No Paint if I focused on it in a similar way. So yeah, that's really encouraging. I think I will continue to focus on it, on these two pieces primarily, and then every month when I'm done the monthly stitching for this one, I'll pick up another secondary piece to work on. But yeah, perhaps in January, once I'm finished this yearly stitch along, I will make Needs No Paint into my sort of monthly focus and figure out, you know, the number of stitches that I would need to complete it by the end of 2024, for example. So yeah, but anyways, this is not that piece. This is Reaching Skyward. It's coming along really well. I love stitching this. Can't wait to get back to it. As a reminder, this fabric is Porcelain 20 Count Ada by Roxy Floss Co. And the floss is also Roxy Floss Co. It's the colorways Brass Tacks and The Whiz. And I purchased all of that from Evertote, an amazing Canadian online shop, which you should check out if you haven't. Speaking of Evertote, they are the ones who run Stitch North. And I heard a lot about Stitch North, which is in Ontario, Canada, and I am from Nova Scotia, so it's in the same country as me, not too far away. A lot of people were raving about it. So when tickets went on sale, I asked my mother if she would be interested in doing something like that with me. And she said yes. So we are going to Stitch North next year in April. So really excited for that. It'll be my first cross stitch retreat. So yeah, really excited that she said yes. And it'll be a fun little mother-daughter trip, and we're both really into cross stitching right now, so yeah, I think it'll be a lot of fun, and I'm really looking forward to that. So I have finished a pair of socks. I know I usually show my knitting in front of the other camera, but these socks are all done, and I really wanted to get a nice close-up of this yarn and give you a look at it. I find it hard to make it show up really well on the other camera. So here's some little ribbing. This happens on either side of the leg of the sock. Got my gusset heel and some little green toes as well. And yeah, hopefully if you can see, so this yarn is by Nerds with Needles, local to me, hand dyer in Halifax, Nova Scotia. Or they're definitely in Nova Scotia. I'm not sure if they're actually in Halifax or not. Anyways, look at the cute little pops of color that are in there. Like, it's mostly greens and yellows, but there's some orange and pink and blue. And it's a really beautiful yarn. And I have finished this pair of socks. So exciting. I don't know who they're for, but they're too big for me, so they will be gifted to somebody. Probably for Christmas. So I have one more pair of socks that I've been working on. I'll show you those. And then we will get into my plans, my upcoming plans for cross stitch and knitting. Once I finished those green socks, I decided to pick these bad boys back up again. So this sock pattern called Heavy Socks is by Briggs & Little, which is the brand of yarn that I'm using to knit these socks. It's a yarn company in New Brunswick, Canada, which is where I am from originally. And this is you know, it's a type of yarn that my mom used to knit with a lot, so and my grandmother as well. It feels very nostalgic to me. So I decided to pick some of this yarn up and knit a pair of these socks. I think around Christmas I started them. So this little marker here, I think, indicates where I was. If not the last time that I filmed these socks, then shortly after that. So yeah, I made a lot of progress on this sock. I've got past the heel and I'm knitting the foot of this sock. So it's a 2x1 rib all the way down, and on the top of the foot as well, it will be 2x1 ribbing. And yeah, heel flap and gusset construction as well, and some cute little stripes up at the top. And this pattern doesn't call for the toe or the heel to be done in a separate color, but that's my plan, is to do that. So I'll do a toe that's this light sort of bluish color. And yeah, then hopefully what will be the case is that I will have enough of this yarn left over to do an opposite colored pair of socks. So a pair that is mostly blue with this browny purple off color toes and heels and such. All right, so let's chat about my plans for July. As I mentioned earlier and in a previous video, I'm going to be going on a 2-week camping trip in July. So these are the projects that I plan to bring with me on that trip. You've seen my Briggs & Little socks. I'm gonna bring those along. Of course, reaching Skyward, gonna bring that along, try and catch up and finish my July portion as well. So the last 2 pieces I'm gonna bring on my trip are these two. This here is my start on Ragnarok by Long Dog Samplers. I started this in December 2022, and yeah, I am stitching this with a variegated DMC floss I forget the count of the fabric, but I'm stitching it 1/1 on this fabric. And so I thought that would be a good piece to bring with me since it's only the one color. The pattern is on my iPad, so hopefully that will be good for camping. And then the other piece is this Nordic Nutcracker that I got from the Jingle Ball Baubles book. And I just have a lot of green background stitching left to do on this piece on the inside of that oval. So again, I thought that would be good. So yeah, those are my camping craft plans. I only have one knitting project, but I do tend to find knitting shops on my travels and buy yarn from them. So I'm kind of leaving some space for new acquisitions during the trip. And I'll bring some knitting needles for sock yarn to potentially start a pair of socks on the trip if I want to. If I finish the Briggs and Little socks, perhaps, or if I just find some yarn that I really want to get knitting on. Otherwise, I think I might start another Jingle Ball Bauble since I finished my Gingerbread House. I want to start another ornament. I have some Mill Hill perforated paper, and one of the Jingle Ball Baubles is called Ringing in Good Cheer, and that's by Satsuma Street. That is stitched on perforated paper, so I'm gonna try it on this perforated paper. The pattern calls for 18 count perforated paper. The one I have is 14 count, so not sure if it'll work or not. Also, the pattern uses white perforated paper. Mine's a brownie color. Anyway, we'll see if it works, but I really like that pattern, so I'm gonna try and stitch it or just start it anyway. All right, well, thank you so much for hanging out with me while I updated you on all of my crafts. I, as always, appreciate you spending some time to listen and watch. And yeah, hopefully I'll see you again soon. Probably not until after my camping trip, so maybe I'll have some video and pictures from that to show next time as well. But yes, thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next one.